So we are now starting with our first technical session. The first technical session is being taken by Dr. Garima Saini, coordinator of this STC and assistant professor in ECE department. So Madam will be taking this particular session on Google Classroom. Madam has joined this institute in 2006 as a lecturer. So now she is working as assistant professor in this institute. So I invite Dr. Garima Saini to welcome the participants as well as to start the session. Garima Saini, ma'am, please.
Thank you, Balwinder sir. So I welcome all the participants for this 5-day online course on free online learning materials, or you can say sources, open sources for effective teaching learning. And I hope it will be beneficial for you. All the sessions will be beneficial for you. So I'll start with my session, which is basically Google Classroom. Kamal, my slides are visible?
Yes, ma'am. Slides are visible now.
Okay. So many of you, in fact, I think all of you must be using Google Classroom, whether you are using as a participant or as a teacher, you must be using this platform. But just a brief introduction, and then I'll show you some of the additional features you might not have used or you are trying to use in your basically classroom. So the first, I would like to introduce, give you the familiarization with Google tools, basically that G Suite for education. It is a very helpful tool which can increase the opportunity of your critical thinking and your communication, collaboration, and creativity. And basically this tool is freely available. It is reliable and secure also, because it has many features and it is offered by basically Google. And it has a feature of Google Drive. We all are using Google Drive, which is basically an online hard drive, and it obviously store all of your files, and you can access your files from any device, and obviously it is automatically saving every time you make an edit, whether you are using it for your Google Classroom, you are using it for any other feature, but this Google Drive is helpful to us nowadays. Then also we have Google Docs, Google Sheet, Google Form, Google Slides, and Google Drawing. These are all are features you might have used in your classrooms, might have used for any other purpose, but it is very beneficial for student and teachers both. So according to this Google tool G Suite for education, you can say these products are basically having a features of utilization of these Google Slides, Google Forms, or you can say Google Docs. And in addition to that, you can have this Gmail, where you can have your contacts, calendars, and your Google Meet also. So basically this G Suite is having two plans. One is for education purpose, which is basically free. But if you have to use it for your enterprise, then you have to take it the commercial license of this particular, which has some administrative additional features, you can say. But for education, you can use it for free. And when we move to Google Classroom, which is the major agenda for this session, basically, it is available with Google Apps for Education domain, you all know, and we have to get all our student information in one place, and it is easy for us to assign work to them, and student can easily turn in their assignments or their work to the Google Classroom, so that teacher can be aware about the working process, how many students have basically attempted the work you have assigned, or how many have not attempted that particular work. It also helps teachers to create and collect assignments easily and on time. Basically, you can verify your features of assignments availability, whether which student has submitted assignment at what time, and if he or she has made any changes after the attempt due date or after the particular time slot you have mentioned for the submission of that particular assignment. It also creates drive folders, so it is easy for you to assemble them in one place, and you can access whenever it is needed by yourself, and you can also share with your students also. So obviously it includes a time saving features, because nowadays when we are teaching online to our classes, we are basically looking that it is very useful tool which is helping us to basically assess the work of our students, and in a very sorted manner, we can say. So it is basically that students can keep track of their work also, that what due on assignment page and how they are going to just submit the assignment, and being working with just a click, you can say students can use those informations. Then teacher can also quickly see who has or hasn't completed their work, and they can also provide their direct or real-time feedback and marks from within the classroom itself. So now how to access Google Classroom? So you must have created your Google Classroom. If not, then you can directly access by visiting classroom.google.com. And there are also mobile apps which can be downloaded. So when you go to classroom.google.com, you'll get this page, and when you click on this go to classroom, you will obviously have to log in on your or sign in your Google account. So when you sign in your Google account, you will get the information about this email ID information that the slide has shows, that you have a Gmail, and then in this particular bars, you will see the Google Classroom apps. They have different apps in this, but the Google Classroom is available. And when you click on this particular Google Classroom app, you will get the information about this, that whether you want to join a class or you want to create a class. For example, if I show you how to create a class, I'll just move to this particular part that I have opened to Google Classroom, and then I want to create a class. So obviously I'll just click on this. I need to create a class, and now I'm going to create a class for this particular, you can say, STC. So I'm keeping the class name as FOSS, free open source softwares, you can say, and I'm writing it as a section, suppose A. My subject is, again, I'm writing it as directly FOSS because it is this, and then room number, suppose any number you want or not, it's up to you. Then I'm creating this particular class. Now, when I have created this particular class, you will get the information related, I'll get the information related to this particular class, and that information is this. A page is created. So this page have the information of the class, that for section A, and we have some class code, and we have a meeting link also, that we can generate a meet link when we want to get connected with our students. So we can access this using the class code, or we can access using some email processes. So now as a teacher, I have created a class, and now my next thing is to invite the student to this particular class. So how I can invite the student in this particular class? Either I will mail all of you this particular class code, or I'll send and give a mail using this particular stream that I click on the people, and I'll just invite students. So by invite student means it is giving the invite link. I'll type the emails, or I'll attach the emails, and then I'll invite them, and the invitation will be sent to that particular participant list or that particular student list. I will provide it, the email IDs I am providing in this particular thing. So I'll obviously send a invite to you of this particular class, because you are now for 5 days you are going to attend the assignments or anything through this Google Classroom itself. So move forward. I have created this class, then I'll edit this class. When I have created on the Google Classroom, I'll get this page information. As we have seen in that, it was a FOSS section A and so. So I have already created for my Knitter students one of the class, which is this Knitter 2021 regular mode. Because we have regular and modular mode, so I have identified that as a section of regular mode. Similarly, ADC Batch 2020 for EC Semester 1. This is the Google Classroom for latest wireless technology, which we have done in April. So we have different classes available in our Google Classroom. As and when we create, it get added to this particular page. Now, how student can join, how you can join, or how your students can join, there are basically two ways to join. One is they can go to Google Classroom and they directly type the code provided to you. If I give you the code, I'll write it in the chat box and I'll say, please join this. Then you all will join this through this Google Classroom code. And second, I will invite students via email, as I've already shown that I'll send this invite link and type the email IDs or name, and finally I'm giving the invitation to all of you. So using the classroom code to join, you have to go to Google Classroom, click on this particular plus sign, and then you will click join class. When you click join class, it will ask you about classroom code, and by using that code, you can join that particular thing. So I'm using this as a practice also, that I'm giving you this classroom code. Suppose this is the classroom code. I think it is visible to all of you. And in chat box, I'm sending this classroom code or link to you, and I'll request all of you to please join this classroom code. So automatically, whenever you go to Google Classroom, you enter this particular link or you click this link, you will get the you will get into the Google Classroom created for this particular STC, we can say. Clear? So now when we move to this Google Classroom homepage, after creating this Google Classroom, after inviting the students, when we go to this Google Classroom homepage, we have this information: stream, classwork, people, and grades. So stream is basically where your announcements and assignments are posted. Whenever you post an assignment or whenever you want to have some announcement for your students, you will put it into the stream, and stream will show in the left side corner. You will get the information related to those assignments or announcements. Then this particular thing will show the name of the assignments and their due dates. This is the selected theme. You can change your theme. You can upload any of the photo, or so it is up to you, whichever customization you want to do for your particular class. Then we have a classwork. Whenever we want to assign assignment, we go to classwork, we assign quiz, assignment material, or any other thing, reading material. Then people, you'll get the information related to your classroom, which student is basically in your classroom, how many students are there, and so on. And then grades, obviously, when we go to the assignment, how we are basically grading our assignments or the materials provided by the student. So it is under this grade category. So next thing is class settings. This is one of the major thing you have to do, because when you click on this sign, you will go into the class settings, and in that class setting also you'll get the information related to your class course, information related to your stream and Google link and all related things. Some of the settings during grades we need to go to class settings again. By default, they have some settings which is required at the time of creation of the Google Classroom homepage. So they have the by default settings at that time. Next, we have this people information that I have invited some of my students. We have some students, suppose in my class, 7 students are there. So as a teacher, I am there as in, and students are available. They have joined this class and they are now assessing that particular class. We can invite our co-teacher also. Suppose I want to, I'll just show you. Suppose I want to invite my co-teacher. So obviously I can go there and I can invite the teacher also for this. Obviously 10 students have already, thank you so much. So you have tested your thing that you have joined that particular class. So already faculty development program Little Chandigarh, because under this category we are there. So we have invited this. Then I type some name or some you can say email ID, and I'll get the information. I'll invite. For example, I'll invite Balvinder sir. So I'll type his email ID and I'll get him linked with this particular Google Classroom as a co-teacher. Clear? So this is for the teacher category, and for students I have shown you this. Now the assignment, the major part is whenever you have created, obviously you will post either some assignments, you will post some your reading materials, and so on. So those things will be posted under classwork. So when you move to the classwork tab, you have to assign some material or assignment, and those documents which is basically provided by, which is basically, just hold on. So we were discussing about this particular thing, Google assignment page, that Google Classroom eliminates sharing issues because they are placing those documents in the Google Drive, which is shared by teachers and students. So whenever you assign anything to the classwork, either it is a reading material or assignment or quiz or so on, it get added to the Google Drive immediately. So simple, students have to just press the turn in button with the Google Classroom, so that teacher will get information that you have submitted your work or they are ready to have their work assessed. They want that their work should be assessed now because they have submitted it. So under this classwork tab, you will just create a button, click the create button. You will select the assignment, quiz assignment, question, material, or you want to reuse the previous added post. You can also click that, and you can add the attachments and then select the due date and click assign. For example, if I show you, because it is needed that I'll go side by side by connecting with this particular thing. For example, I want to create some assignment. I'll just type this. Now we have either will add from Google. If you have already created, you can add from Google Drive. If you have some link, suppose you have created some Google Doc, you have some link, you can add that link. If you have some PDF or file, you can add them. If you want to give them YouTube session links, you can provide that link also to them. Then you provide the title. For example, I'm giving it as the assignment 1. And then I'm just adding it, or I want to create myself by Google Doc, by slides or drawings or forms, so I can create that. This is the left hand side of the assignment part. From the right hand side, it is basically for all the students or any of the student. I want that this student should not get this information or so, whichever is not possible. But if you want, you can deselect them, and obviously only the selected student will get the information. Then the points, for how many points you want to get it, the information should be, suppose I want it for the 10 points, then it is for 10 points. You want to give a due date, there is no due date. Suppose I said that it should be submitted till 19th February. And I can create topic for that, I have, it should be one tab, which is assignment, and it should be under that assignment tab. It should be there for assignment 1. So this is basically when you create the assignment. Now, while creating the assignment, there is one important thing which is mainly needed and we don't do normally, that is rubric. So in that rubric, you have assigned something and you want to create rubric for that particular assignment. So you can create by plus sign, create rubric. If you have already created rubric for some other assignment, you can reuse that rubric, and you can also import from the sheets. But if you see create rubric, when you go to the create rubric, you will use scoring. It can be in the descending order, it can be in the ascending orders, and you have provided the marks, that how many marks you want for that. So you can also create that particular thing, that create criteria title required. This particular thing means how you want to create your assignment to be assessed, how you are going to assess your assignment. So criteria is, suppose you are asking them for a paper, or you are asking them for a short note or anything, and you are now want to assess them. So your criteria is you are giving the references, the preference, that which type of references they have used. Then a description you want. It is not required. If you want to give, you can give it. Then how many points you are going to give that particular criteria. 1 point, 2 point, 3 point. That means if you suppose they are writing some short note you have provided for a latest topic, and you want to see whether they are using Wikipedia as their source, or they are using some defined literature service, some defined papers of particular society or particular conference, or related to that particular topic, some books. They are referring old books, they are referring just the books related to that part, and then the level title, which type of title you want to use, description of that particular thing, and finally you can do this. For example, I want that if he has used some IEEE references or some other references, then I'll give it to A. And if he has used some particular books of this group, then it will get A plus or A or B or B plus. So these things you are going to define. Then now I want to add another criteria. This is one of the criteria of assessing an assignment. And another criteria is, suppose, for example, you can say the grammar or writing skills. You can say I ask for the writing skills. So for any of it is not necessary that I am talking about the technical or non-technical, any type of assessment you are doing for your assignment. It can be any of the things. Suppose you took a seminar presentation. Then in seminar presentation, PPTs are submitted by the student. They will provide the information related to that seminar, and you'll give the particular details of that seminars. That obviously first will be the references from there where they have chosen the content related to that particular topic. Then second will be the how they have presented the skills. So you can say the PPT presentation. I can say that PPT presentation, how they have prepared their PPT, how they have utilized the diagrams or figures and so on. So any of the criteria can be there. I want to give 2 points to this. Then I want to give again, whether if it is 2 points, then it will be A. If it is 1 point or 1.5 and so on. So you are adding these type of things. You can either add criteria from here, or you can either just duplicate the criteria. You can move the criteria, which criteria you want to give the preference. So suppose I have duplicated, then again it is giving the PPT presentation as a third criteria. So we have different sets, and the number of marks, total marks for this particular assignment I have assigned, suppose 6. So it means 3 different criteria. On these 3 different criteria, I am assessing the assignment, and the criteria title is defined. So users are basically get the information that how we are assessing this particular assignment. So this is one thing, and I am suppose saving it. When you save it, you'll get the information related to that. So you have rubric 3 criteria are there, and 6 points are obviously there. You can check the plagiarism also, but in normal assignment work, not needed. If needed, you can check the plagiarism also. This is one major thing related to assignments, and think that when you give assignments, especially the written assignment, that how we are going to assess those things. Okay. Now next, we have seen that how we have to create an assignment, and in that additional how we are creating the rubrics for that particular assignment. So have I seen when you create an assignment, it is basically editing the classwork and in the stream also, and then from the classwork you can click the Google Calendar also to pull this up and get a better overall view of the timeline of your assignments due days. So obviously this particular function of the Google Classroom and a calendar will help you in tracking your things or your assignment works or all of your work, that whenever it is available to for the submission, and when you have to submit it to the teacher or so on. Similarly, Google Docs, that when you are creating an assignment, there may be often the times when you want to attach a document from Google Doc. So these can be helpful when providing lengthy instructions, especially Google Docs assignments. Normally we provide when we need lengthy instructions for study guides and other materials. And when attaching these types of files, obviously you want to make sure to choose the correct settings, basically, that how you can utilize. After attaching one assignment, you will find a drop-down menu. For example, if I'll show you in one of my assignment, you can say that whenever we create an assignment or a Google Doc, suppose I'll just say that I'll create a Google Doc, and whenever I create a Google Doc, it will ask me what do you want to write in that particular, suppose anything I'm writing it, and I'm sharing with some of the students. So so it is asking me whether you want to share it with this. So restricted only people added can open this link. So it means only those who are added can open these links, and we can click anywhere in the get link box. So whenever you click link, or we can add some people's, additional people's also, and so on. So this is basically when you created some Google Doc account, and when you Google Doc assignment, when you assign it to the people, when you share it with the people, then people get the information. But now the thing is how they are going to utilize this particular thing. Suppose I have assigned this thing. Now if I have written something, if I have provided something and I want them to edit, but in this category I have only three things. Either student can view the file. I have written something, student can only read that file, they can see only that file. Second is student can edit that file. If you want your student should edit that particular file, you are sending this information to a particular group of the students, and you want that they should edit that file, they should add their comments also, they should add something additional into that. So you can click this particular setting that student can edit that file. And third is make a copy for each student. So there are different settings when you create a Google Doc assignment, and according to that setting, you will find as per your requirement, you will set these settings, and finally you are assigning those settings. Clear? So this is using Google Doc with the assignments. So now when you have given this particular edit feature to your students, and when they share their files from Google Drive, you can unfortunately cannot prevent them students from making further changes, because whenever you are giving them some assignments and you want them that they should submit within a due date, within a due time limit, they have submitted within due date, within due time limit, but now they want to change some of the basically things between your assignment. So they can change. You cannot stop them by changing, but you have the provision to see the revision history, that at what time or at what on which date they have made changes after due date or not. So in Google assignment, when you go to the file, you will see the revision history. For example, I have shown here that whenever you go to that particular assignment file, one of the students has submitted this assignment file. And when I go to that particular see history command, here it is files and it is see history. When you see this particular, click this particular link, you will get the information of the assignment modifications date. So whether my due date is suppose 6 February, he has submitted the assignment on 6 February. But when I checked it on 8 February or 10 February, I started checking all the assignments, and I noticed that there are some modifications. I want to check whether there are some modifications or not. So I'll go to the history and I'll see this student has submitted assignment on time, but he had made changes after submission. So obviously it will give a detailed information regarding your due dates categories, that you will inform your students that if you change your assignments, you can check from this particular thing. So you can also create topics to bifurcate your materials, your assignments. For example, when you go to classwork tab, obviously create the last option is topic. So this, when you click on this topic, you will get you'll select a material. For example, I have created this topic lecture material. So all the materials related to my subject, lecture material will be provided in this particular topic. Assignments will be provided in this particular topic. Some questions, old question papers, some other questions, some additional questions I'll want to share with them, I'll provide in this particular topic. So it is easy for me to track. It is easy for them to get information related to their requirements, whether they will have to look into the lecture material, they have to look into assignment, or they have to look into question. So this is regarding the topic creation, and it is basically helpful in organizing your work, and it will obviously save your time so that you can easily assess your things in particular classroom. Suppose this particular lecture material or particular assignment you want to share with another batch, so you need not to go through all the slides, all the things in the Google Classroom. You just go to the assignment, you'll see that a particular topic related assignment is there in that classroom, and you'll reuse that particular post, change the needed information, required information, and then you'll share with the other classroom also. So obviously it will help us to separate our content, readings, and other topic areas. Next is basically Google Forms. We all are using Google Forms nowadays for surveys, for quiz, and all things in online platform, basically, where from 2020 onwards, this Google Form was very popular, is very popular in all the basically fields, you can say. Even school students are using this for their small projects as a survey. So we can create a quiz. But the major advantage of having this Google Classroom feature is answer feedback. It means you can give student the feedback on certain questions you want to give them, depending on whether they choose the correct answer. So you can, when you click the add answer feedback, type the message you would like to appear for correct or incorrect answers. For example, I'll show you in one of my Google Classroom. For example, I have this classwork, and for this classwork, I have arranged some questions based on, you can say, this particular topic, improving coverage and capacity. So I have given this information related to this improving coverage and capacity. This is related to Google Doc. I haven't given them the edit information, that they can't edit, they can only see, because I want to give the information related to that particular topics, that how which type of short answers or short questions they have asked, and which type of questions they need to answer for that particular thing. This is related to Google Doc, that I have given the criteria of only view. They can't change it. But when I want them to change something, or I want them to information related to particular things, so I'll just give them the information of that particular. I'll just show you. These are the PPT materials. These are some questions related to that particular thing, and sorry. Just wait. This is one of the thing I want to learn, that I have given the assignment in Word. So I have given this and just send them that they can edit. So they can type it under these questions, and they can finally give this information, submit it back to me, and I can see that. For example, they have only one has assigned and 0 hasn't assigned, because they haven't turned in. So I didn't get the information related to all the assignments, but because it is, if you see, it is related in April 1st. We have just started using the Google Classroom. So students are not aware about the turn-in options. They are not aware how to get the information back, give the information back to the teacher. So they have just submitted me through the email. So I have requested them to share in the Google Drive, and then I'll assess their assignments, and finally I have graded their assignments. So I just missed that thing where it is related to that particular part. Yeah, this. So this is the short questions, quiz, improving coverage and capacity. So I have given that particular information. While creating that information, I have marked the answers. Obviously, quiz information is there, so I have marked the right answer, and I have provided the feedback also for that answer. Whenever they click on the answer, whether it is right or wrong, if it is up to you, you want to give them information when they get it clicked on the wrong answer, or you want to just give the information related to that particular topic. So I have chosen that whether they click on right answer or wrong answer, they'll get the feedback. For example, which of the following techniques do not help in expanding the capacity of cellular system? There is a question. Scattering is the correct answer, and I have given the feedback that they should understand. They should not just copied it from anywhere from the Google, search it from Google and then click it right. But they should understand the logic behind this answer. So I have given that particular feedback. I have done this for all the questions so that user will get the information related to their questions easily. So it is helpful for them, and they are easy to understand that I have click this answer and this is the reason it is giving the right answer. So that is why you can add the answer feedback inside your this particular part and type the message you would like to appear for the correct or incorrect answer. And obviously point is there, you have already must have created the quiz. I'm not going to create. If you want me, I'll just show you the quiz creation. But I thought all of you must have to use this Google Form feature, but just add answer feedback. It will be helpful for you also, and it will be helpful for your students also to get the information related to that particular question. Now, next thing is adding sections to your quiz. If you want, you can add sections to your quiz, and adding quizzes to your classes means you can click to your drive icon. You can search for that particular document in the window that pops up, and you can click add. So it will ultimately add it to you, that particular thing. For example, I have shown in this that from my Google Drive folder, we have different PPTs, quiz related to that particular Google Classroom. And I have just added this quiz tag. I just click it and then add it to this. And when I add it to this, you get the information. So it is basically how you are assigning your assignment or how you are giving the classwork to your student, whether you are using Google Drive, whether you are using any Google attachment link or so on. So it is up to you, but from Google Drive, you can easily attach your assignments to the Google Classroom. Then grading and leaving feedback. This is one of the major thing we want to do. Because normally in previously I personally use Excel sheets for keeping the track of the assignments or keeping the track of the marks of my students for seminar, for sessionals, for their class practicals and so on. So Google Classroom helped me a lot in this. That is how I'm grading my assignments and how you can grade your assignments. And obviously you can also give feedback to your students within the Google Classroom, because nowadays even your kids are also using Google Classroom, so they have to submit assignments PDF online through Google Classroom. Now it is very difficult for us to grade them, because suppose we have 10 students, 20 students, 15 to 25 students, 30 students, but you have a large number of classes and it is difficult for you to just take the printout, then check it, then again scan it back and give that feedback to your students. So Google Classroom help you in this, that you can online grade them, you can give feedback online to them. So there are two options for them. One is start by navigating to the classwork tab, that you go to the, I'll show you how you grade it, but just see it that you have to go to classwork tab. You have to click on that particular assignment you want to grade, and then you click view assignment. You will get the information of the assignment. You will see, and after seeing that particular work, you grade that. Second is you directly go to the grade tab. From there, you can open the assignment you want to grade. For example, I'll show you that I have one assignment in one particular class, which is of suppose 1st April. And on that, I'll go to that particular class. I have seen that these number of assignments or works I have allotted to that particular batch. Some is from out of 5, out of 5, out of 5, out of 10, and then out of 100. These are thesis related things. So I have attached them out of 100. We have the information related to our students, and from that information I can assess or grade them. So I'll just show you. For example, this is another batch. So this batch has these students. This is our new batch. So they have just started turning in their assignments. So some of them has turned in, some of them has not turned in. Even if they have not turned in after due date, you can obviously tell them that if this is the time limit, this is the date. If you not submit, you will get your marks will get deducted. So it is up to you how you will assign your you will grade your assign your grades to the students. Your basic criteria of assigning the marks or grades. So this particular point, whenever you go to that particular, this particular thing will show you the total point value of the assignment. By default, it is sometimes it is 100 points or ungraded. So it is up to you how much marks you want to assign for that particular assignment. Then second thing is turned in, that list of the students who have submitted. So if you see, you have I have 4 students who have turned in this work. This is basically the lab work I have given to them through MATLAB simulation. So they have done on their part. They have submitted that particular lab work. Some students have submitted in doc file, some have submitted in a PDF file, and I have to access this different formats also. So it is basically up to teachers that how they are using it. Then third point is that assigned means the students in the list have yet to submit the assignment. So there is total track of the student assignments. Now, whenever you will get the information of the assignment, you will just type on. You have checked the assignment. Now you will type on the grade you would like to give each assignment. Now, again, here come the 2 things, whether you have created the rubric that for particular assignment. If you have created the rubric, you will obviously assess according to that rubric. But if you have not created the rubric, and as per your thinking process, you have defined your criteria that how I will assign the marks to the student. So total 5 marks will be assigned, suppose total 5 marks will be assigned to a student who has submitted it on time, who has done the work as per your expectations. There might be some errors, but just he has submitted on time and as per your expectations. So you can give them 5, you can give them 4, and so on. So it is up to you. Rubrics obviously help you. It takes time while creating, but it helps you assigning grades easily, because it is easy for you to assign grades, and it is easy for a student to get them information that they are assigned grades as per this criteria. So once you have graded an assignment, it will automatically be selected. And you can then choose the return to the student. Suppose I'll choose this return and I'll send it to the, click this particular button, I'll send it to the return to the student. I'll just show you the slide, and after that I'll go to this particular grading tool, where you will, how you will go to access and grade and so on. So first, when you want to use the grading tool, you want to assign your assignments using the grading tool, you want to give the feedback. So you have to click on the assignment to open it. When you click on that particular assignment, you will get the information of that assignment. And on the right side of the screen, you will see a column featuring the grading tool. So this is particular grading tool where it is see history. Previously, I was saying that you can see the history. This is the name of the assignment they have submitted, the file name. Then you will provide the grades. If you have rubrics, you will provide according to them. If you don't have rubrics, you provide as per your criteria. And then you'll add the private comment. In private comments, you will add that particular comment for, suppose I have deducted 1 mark, then I have add a particular comment why, what is missing in this assignment, and what you are expecting from this particular topic or assignment. And obviously the student get the information when you click the return button. Student will get the information that you are giving the comment on that particular assignment, and student need to modify his or her assignment as per this particular comment or not, or what he has to use these comments again attempting for the exam or sessionals or test or so on. So I'll just move back to that particular assignment slide that I have shown you, that if you see this is particular part, that I want to get the information of that particular practical task or so on, and students have submitted those practical tasks. They have the informations related to that particular task they have submitted, and I want to see that particular assignment. I have submitted this particular 3 questions I have given to them, and those 3 questions were attempted by many of them. 6 has turned in, 1 has assigned, 1 has not attempted. So whenever I click on that particular assignment, I get this particular page. Using this page, as I've already discussed, you can see the history. So if you see, I have assigned this assignment on 9th November at 11:15 to this particular student. He turned in on this particular time. He unsubmitted till this time and finally turned in late at this time. If we modified this after the due date, this particular data will also get added in this history. So you will get the information related to that particular student, whether he or she has modified. So it is basically C history. Second, this is the part thing. And third is the private comment. If I want to grade this, I haven't graded this particular thing, but if I want to grade this, I will get the grade information, and then I'll add the private comment. For example, needed more diagrams. For any topic, I'll say that I need more diagrams or more or clean diagrams or so on, and I'll post it. So that post will get back to this particular assignment page for that particular student. So you get the information related to that, and I'll return it. If I have to return this particular assignment, I'll return this submission, and I have to return multiple submissions of this particular student, I can return multiple submissions. So this is one thing. Now, second thing is, if I want to give feedback for particular area, suppose the student has written this particular thing and I want that it should not be like this. So what I'll say, I'll just written that I have given the comment, I'll just add a comment, click on this plus sign. This plus sign will highlight that particular area where I want to give comment. I have highlighted this area, I have highlighted this area, or I want to highlight this area. So it is up to teacher on which particular slide you want to highlight. You get highlight that area, you'll give a comment. Neat diagram. Suppose I'll just giving a hypothetical, you can say, comment that neat diagram needed. Suppose I'll comment it, I'll edit, and finally I'll return that. So it is up to you, you're giving this private comment, or it is up to you want to highlight some particular section of your assignment, whether it's this part. So this way you can highlight, you can check online, you can return it back to the student, and student get that information. You need not to get it checked how, because it is a big headache for a teacher, how to check these assignments online basically. So this is one thing. So I have that you can highlight this particular part. There are so many other options. You can print it, you can download this particular thing that you have submitted. Then if you click on these 3 buttons, you can find out particular thing. You want to hide comments column, you can hide the comment column. If you want to show the comment column, you can show. If you want to manage comment notifications, you can manage comment notifications, that you want send notifications for all comments, only mentions and replies to my comments or nothing. It is up to you. So there are additional features that you want to work for, and you want to give information to that particular student. Now, the next thing is, in this is viewing the class grade. That whenever you have assigned something to the users, now you want to view those class grades, and you want to see it as a overall. So if you go for your grade tab, you will get this type of information: the name of the students, the assignments you have given to them, or materials, whatever you want to assess. Then your average, how many have submitted, how many has not submitted, and so on. So you have the information related to those particular things. And according to that information, you can give the overall grades. Now, if you want to view some grades on the basis of, if you see this particular slide, I'll show you the previous slide. You have that I have given only how much points I have assigned for that particular assignment, and on the basis of that, it is giving the class average. I have assigned, I have basically assessed these 3 assignments, and on the basis of these 3 assignments, I have class average. But if I want to see overall grade calculations, so I have to go to class settings. I have to click that particular tab, class setting. And in class setting, you have to go into gradings. In grading, the overall grade calculations can be either it is on the basis of total points, it is on the basis of weighted category, or no graded overall grades. So on the basis of that, you can get the information. For example, I'll show you this particular thing. I'll just show you in the Google Classroom first, and then we'll have this. For example, suppose I have this particular batch. I have given this. If you see this particular thing, I have taken the slide of this particular, that these are the grades of this number of students, and these are the assignments. So I'll go to class settings. I'll see the grading part. In grading part, overall grade calculations, no overall grade. So there are no grade, and if I click it on total points, save it, and go back, now you will see this column appear, overall grade. So the class average is 91.25%, and the particular student overall grade is given this particular thing. So it is up to you whether you want to see this overall grade or not. By default, it is not there. By default, it is only just no grades, and it is only this class average. But you want to see the overall grade, you can see this particular overall grade. Another thing in class setting I'll want to show you earlier, but now I'll show you that whenever you go to, you create the classroom page, you have this classroom settings. In classroom settings, you have this invite link, you have this classroom code, then stream. Then stream also have options. Student can only comments, only teacher can post or comment. As we have WhatsApp settings that only administrator can comment or administrator can post. So similarly, this classroom has, because if some of the students create nuisance, obviously you don't want them to comment in the class. So you can have your class settings such that only you can post or comment, no other student can post or comment. But obviously it will, by default, it is both can post and comment, because if there is some any problem, the student can inform you through Google Classroom also. So this is class settings related to grading, whether you want total points, you want overall grade, or you want weighted by category. So it is up to you how you want to this. Also, you can show your overall grade to the students, so you can add. So for weighted category, when you click by weighted category, you have to add the grade categories. So how you will going to check whether this particular assignment will take, if suppose 50 is the marks for your sessionals, and how you are going to assign those 50 marks. 30 marks is for your sessional test, 20 marks is for your additional work, and those 20 marks is now divided into assignments, seminars, and so on. So you can define those grade categories. You can define the percentage of that particular part. Suppose I say that this is seminar category. For seminar category, I am assigning the 10% of the marks or 20% of the marks. So I'll give you 20% and remaining 80% will be there. So it is up to you how you are going to add the categories or how you are going to give the grading. So this is about the grade part, class settings. Now, one of the major things that we have seen in this particular slide, again, if you move forward, that export the grades from assignment to Google Sheet. Now, if you have graded your all the assignments, you have assigned them, now it is difficult for you to just check one by one again and then assign it to the user. So you can directly copy all grades to the Google Sheet or download all grade as CSV. So for that, whenever you open that particular assignment, you'll go to this student work. There is this setting tab here, and when you click on this particular tab, you will have these 3 options: copy all grades, download all grades, download these grades as CSV. So to export grades, you just copy all grades to Google Sheets, And when you copy all grades to Google Sheet, you'll get a spreadsheet is created for you and it will not update automatically. This is one of the major drawbacks. I felt that whenever you change that, it will not update automatically. You have to create another one again from that particular setting tab. So whenever you grade more assignments, you will need to export the grades again. So this is for that particular class, Open Classroom. These are the assignments or topics, dates, and number their students, their email IDs, their overall grades, and their grades. So you need not to write it from that particular Google Classroom and again enter it somewhere. So you can have that particular Google Sheet. This sheet you can share with others, faculty members also, you can share with students also, and so on. So in this way, you can export your grades from assignments to Google Sheet. So when you want to communicate with students or parents in some of time, so you can navigate to the people, you can email them, you can mute them, you can remove them, you can email to a particular student, you can email to multiple students, you can email to the entire class. So these are some of the features, additional features provided by this particular thing. So this is rubric. I have also already told you that you can reuse the rubric, you can create the rubric, you can edit or delete the rubric, or you can also add a rubric to your existing assignments. Whenever you have an assignment, you just go to that particular assignment. You will add that particular assignment where you have a rubric. You will create the plus sign. You will create that rubric. So whenever you have assigned the assignment, you can also create rubric for that. So the major feature or advantage of having a rubric that you can create up to 50 criteria per rubric, and that can up to 10 performance levels per criteria. So you can have you have a wide variety of creation of rubrics for a particular assignment or a work. So I have already told you this particular feedback on the assignment, that when you click on that particular assignment, your assignment page will get open and you will get the private comments. Also, you can give highlight the area of comment also, in which page you want to give that particular comment. So you can give that. Now, another plus point of having Google Classroom is that archive a class. Suppose your semester ended or your year ended and you don't want to show, because there are whenever you create a Google Classroom for a particular class, it will get accumulated in your Google Classroom page. So you don't want to show them to others. So you just have to get confusions, create confusions for teachers also. So you just archive those materials, discussions, and posts, and those archived classes is taken off from home screen. So it will not shown up to you, but it is in the Google Drive, and they are still available in the Google Drive. So you can just view and edit those. So for that particular thing, you have to go to latest file. Suppose you have to go to Google Classroom, right click on these 3 points dots, and when you click on this dots, you have get move, copy, invite link, edit, copy, and archive. So when you archive that particular thing, so it can be viewed by you and students in the class. However, when the class is archived, you can't edit or add anything to the class until you restore it. So whenever you need it, you again restore it from your Google Drive. So go to home. How you can archive a class? Go to click home, click on the 3 dots next to the class name, click archive, and when the archive class screen pops up, just click archive. So there are 2 other ways to archive your class. If you want to restore it, you need to view, restore, or delete an archive class. You just click on this particular tab of Google Classroom. You have the information of the classes and archive classes. You click on this particular class, you show the vertical dots, and then again you will restore that particular thing. So this is about Google Classroom. I'll just show you about the archive class. Whenever, suppose I have these number of classes in my Google Classroom, and I want to these number of classes, suppose, and I want to this, so I can archive this particular class. It is asking me, so I can archive. So if we click it, it will go to the Google Drive. I have already archived one class. I'll show you. This is archive class, latest wireless technology. So whenever I click on this, it'll ask me to restore. I'll restore, and it will again show it on my Google homepage. So now there is no archive class, and we have these number of classes. All the 4 classes are available. So it is up to you how you are going to use the Google Classroom. There are so many things, other things also you can have, whether you want to review with this particular classes, how many classes you want to review, how many you have reviewed. These things are available. Your information with the calendar is also available. So there are so many things available from Google Classroom. So I'll end this session with this, and I hope it will it helped you. Some of the new feature might you have came to know about Google Classroom, and if you want to have any information related to any of the things, you can comment back in the Google Classroom also. Thank you all.
Thank you, Garima ma'am, for very informative session. So thank you very much for this informative session on Google Classroom.